Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Wednesday in the morning here. We're currently located at Houston George Bush Intercontinental Airport in XPlane 12 with the early access release version, and also I got the Zibo Mod 737, the XPlane 12 compatible. It says the early access release version on the Zibo Google Drive. So we got that installed using a United livery, and this is a general overview of XPlane 12. So you might be thinking, all right, it kind of looks a lot like XPlane 11. What's really different? Well, if you guys actually go to the Laminar website and scroll down and read, you'll see that quite a bit of new changes have taken place. Primarily, they have a new weather modeling system, so there's no longer any need for active sky. They have a 3D new water texture that's much more interactive, so if you fly amphibious aircraft like seaplanes and stuff, the interaction between the water and your aircraft have been modeled using help from real-world seaplane pilots. In addition to that, you'll see there's new 3D volumetric cloud rendering in the sky. It's looking pretty good so far. What else is there? I can say, as far as the the weather modeling. So with real weather now being injected on a much better level, if you were to have rain show up here in XPlane 12 and then the rain stopped, the tarmac will actually be wet. And what's cool is you can actually watch the puddles and it will dry up over time. The same goes for snow and ice accumulation and buildup. It'll actually build up on the planes, which is pretty neat. So let's just give a quick overview. Let's go into the menus. So first, we have the aircraft menu here. We have a few airliners. We got the Airbus A330, the default 737-800. This is the Zibo. See, it says early access from the Zibo drive. You'll need to download that manually. There's the 4K texture model. Also default is the MD-82 McDonnell Douglas. We have some GI aircraft, the Beechcraft Baron, the King Air Cessna Citation X, the Cessna Skyhawk, the Skyhawk with the G1000. And some of these look like they're ports from XPlane 11. You got the Cirrus SR-22 propeller plane, the Cirrus Vision, the Lancair Evolution, the Piper Cub. This is actually a real fun aircraft to fly, especially flying around in Alaska doing some bush flying. The Stinson Sentinel, Vans RV-10, and you still have a couple experimental aircraft. You have a glider. We have 3 helicopters, the Robinson R-22 and the Sikorsky. We have the F-14 Tomcat, which is brand new for XPlane 12, and it seems by the review videos on the XPlane YouTube video, they have a whole 12-part series about the new changes and what they're focusing on for this release. We also have the F-4 Phantom, the Stinson Sentinel, and the Cessna Skyhawk with floats, and an ultralight aircraft. So it's a pretty good variety. Although, with the release of Top Gun 2 and the Top Gun Maverick flying F-18s. Kind of wonder why Laminar decided to go with the F-14 versus the F-18. But you know, maybe because Microsoft Flight Simulator included that aircraft as part of the movie release to fly around a little bit in that. And I don't know, maybe Austin has a personal preference and just really likes a Tomcat. I do love how the wings sweep back on this model, so maybe I'll have to fly that sometime and just check it out. Anyways, so that's all the aircraft that you have there. So let's go to the main menu. So you have resume last flight, you have new flight, we got save flight, load save flight, and flight school. So flight school, you have your basic propeller aircraft, basics, navigation, couple tutorials, and then you have one helicopter tutorial there. So going back to the main menu again, I don't necessarily like resuming last flights or loading save flights. I'd rather just start a new flight and load the Zibo over again. That way nothing strange is carrying over. So we can go to new flight. We can change location. We can customize the weather here. We're downloading real weather currently. We can go from VFR clouds to VFR scattered, VFR broken, marginal overcast, IFR non-precision, IFR precision, convective, or large cell thunderstorms. So let's give that a shot real quick and see what happens. Start new flight. This is the new graphic for XPlane 12 with the A330. Okay guys, as you can see, we have some visual rain on the cockpit windows, and if you can hear in the background, I'm playing the external sounds through my desktop speakers, so you can actually hear the rain hitting the aircraft and rolling down the windows. I think that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is just to show you real quick as far as the windshield wipers. I'm going to put the battery on, and let's just put the AC on the bus. And again, like the sounds of XPlane, just love them. And anytime there's power to the aircraft, we always have our steady light on. So just to show you guys, you can see the puddles out the window, which is pretty cool. And I wanted to show you the windshield wipers. So see, just like on your car, intermittent, it's going to wipe them a little bit, and it's going to come out. And actually from exterior view, you can tell it's like really raining hard. Let me turn that down a little bit. If you actually look in on the windshields, you can see the rain coming down on the windshields. And that even includes all the passenger windows. Now let's just very quickly. Now because this is all the way set to storm, it is raining pretty hard, so the windshield wipers are keeping up, but it's not going to catch every little drip. If I backed off the rain some to just lighter rain, but unlike the PMDG model, which I believe the windshield wipers, they might sweep, but they don't actually clear away any rain, which is kind of disappointing. Alright. Anyways. So let's put those wipers away. Going back to outside view. So you guys can see it's raining. The tarmac is wet. There's puddles. Very cool. The tarmac looks really good. We'll just scroll out a little bit, zoom out. Alright, now if I were to switch this back, let's go back to sunny weather. Few clouds or clear. We'll just go with a few clouds. And apply changes. Alright, we can see it just rained. See how there's still reflective puddles and stuff on the edge. Now if you watch these puddles closely, can't get, let's see if we can get one up close. Let's zoom in this way. Notice how it's just it's drying as the sun is out. It's disappearing. Even with this puddle too, it started to dry up. I think that's like absolutely amazing. See, that one's all gone now. Another thing I'd like to point out is the ramp area, and this is default texturing in XPlane 12. This is the early release, right out of the box. This ramp texturing looks awesome. You have the actual look of concrete or tarmac. You have some weathering, some cracks and stuff. I don't know if they they did on XPlane 11 some little oil spots and stuff. Oh, that was the other thing too. Let's go to exterior view. The runways. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, take note. See, look at that tarmac. That looks awesome. Much more realistic as far as that texturing than the gray paint looking with a non-skid in it. All the same consistency. Look, the grass has even improved. You can see like where the lawn tractor went through. So that's much improved over what the other XPlane 11 grass looked like. Before, it was just kind of blend of just colors, and it kind of reminded me of when I had a model train set as a kid. They sold these like grass mats to put underneath the tracks, and yeah, it kind of looked like that. But anyways, here, check this out, guys. So here's the runway. Again, this is just stock right out of the box, or in this case, right out of early release, still in early release beta, public beta. Again, there's going to be changes between now and what the final release is. That looks like a real runway to me, guys. I've watched planes land. I mean, you can see from Google Maps, Google satellite images, there's tire markings, there's dirt, there's oil, there's all kinds of stuff. There's breaks in the concrete, there's repairs, there's little tar filling things. That looks way better than Microsoft Flight Simulator's runways. Now, I'm just comparing one to the other just factually. Is one better than the other? No, I think they're both awesome. I actually prefer, I've been a XPlane fan since 2017 when XPlane 11 came out, and you know, I've enjoyed it. But with the release of Microsoft 2020, you know, just like with their early release, lots of issues they had to work through, and the first few patches actually broke a lot of stuff, so I ended up shelving the whole thing, and left Microsoft Flight Simulator to kind of marinate and bake some more, and let Asobo work out a whole bunch of issues and stuff that, you know, caused other problems for developers that just had released scenery and aircraft and stuff. So, you know, 2+ years later, I came back, and especially with the PMDG 737 release in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think it's amazing. You know, and honestly, the overall level of immersion, tongue-tied today, the level of immersion with the PMDG 737 and Microsoft Flight Simulator, yeah. Currently, you know, that's what I would do for overall experience. Now, this being a new sim, you know, everybody's got to put in their 2 cents. Everybody has opinions. There's been several streams already on reviews. Flight Deck to Sim still prefers XPlane 12, and he just came off the flight line, you know, doing back-to-back flights for 5 days. He still prefers XPlane as his go-to choice for the realistic feel of the aircraft. Also on Skymatic's channel, he also has couple real-world pilots that frequent his Discord channel and his streams. So again, they say as far as flight dynamics, flight physics, the aircraft just handles better at this point, you know. So as of today, now would I like to see PMDG fix the errors like the aircraft not maintaining altitude in turns at lower airspeed, that some people have said they've had that same issue all the way back to FSX? Yes, definitely. I'd love to see PMDG. I'd love PMDG to get better than the Zibo. Now, some of the systems in the Zibo, like the MMR, the IAN system, the weather radar, the terrain radar, some of that stuff, the electronic flight bag, which is supposed to come out with a future release of PMDG, future upgrade. So we're getting there, but you know, when your commanded autopilot drops 400 feet below your assigned altitude when you're on an approach with air traffic control, sorry guys, that's just not gonna work out for you know, realistic handling. That's like a basic autopilot function. You know, if a lot of other stuff isn't modeled yet, the you know, the galley, the cabin area, I know there's a workaround with that for now in the PMDG, you know, some other systems, but just have the basic autopilot like work correctly. You know, that really kills it. That's what has me still using XPlane 11. Both. I like flying both. I've been finding the immersion in Flight Simulator with the PMDG 737 is amazing, and it actually wants me to fly. It actually makes me want to fly more to smaller airports that I haven't seen, just because the dynamics of you know, flying through the clouds and looking down and having that kind of photorealistic for the whole world wherever I want to fly. So again, guys, I'm not putting down Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's lots of great stuff, and you know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. You know, I would like to completely switch to that, but PMDG, this is the aircraft I love, Boeing 737 NG. Until PMDG corrects those autopilot issues and adds the same level of systems operationally and functionally as the Zibo Mod, you know, I just can't completely switch. Now, what do I do currently? I bounce back and forth between FS 2020 and XPlane. I'll do a flight in XPlane and a flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I love them both. They both have their strong points and they both have their weak points. So, you know, let's stay united as a community. Get that united livery, united as a community. I know that's a pretty bad joke, but anyways, you know, let's stay united as a community. We're all flight simmers. Guys, it doesn't matter. Whatever one you want to fly that you enjoy, use that one. There isn't, you can't say either sim is 100% better than the other one, and we should just abandon XPlane or abandon Microsoft Flight Simulator altogether, and there should only be one simulator, you know, for the whole world to fly, and that's it. Neither simulator has, great combat fighter aircraft. I mean, okay, X-Plane 12, they have the Tomcat. Microsoft Flight Simulator, they have the F-18. But, you know, if you actually go to fly it, 70% of the buttons and switches don't work. Yeah, you can take off and land, but, you know, again, both sims have their weak points and their positive. So fly what you like, guys. Fly both. Fly one, fly the other. Fly X-Plane, fly Flight Simulator. Competition is good. When I started simming with down at my friend's house when I was like a teenager, maybe like 13 or so, he had Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think it was version 4.0 or something like that, on his Apple IIe or something like that. It was green monochrome screen with like four colors and 2D gauges, instrument gauges at the bottom of the screen. Then you had Flight Simulator Windows 95, Flight Simulator 98. Things started to get a little bit better then. But guys, you're so lucky to have both sims like this just starting out. If this is, you know, this is your first simulator, or one of your, you know, between Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane, having one or both sims, this is amazing compared to where things were 10 years ago. So, you know, let's not complain what's better, what's not. They're both different. So, with that being said, let's move on. Let's switch the weather to let's switch the season to wintertime. So we'll go to customize. September. Now we're down here in Texas, so let's go to like January when it's really cold. And done. And weather. We'll customize the weather because we want the air temperature to be below freezing, obviously. Or I'm sorry, yeah, below 32 Fahrenheit. And we'll back up one, and precipitation. Let's just see what this does. Convective. Being that the temperature is below 32. Now, Austin did say with snow and ice, there is snow and ice accumulation on the runways and also on aircraft. I don't know about buildings and stuff, but maybe we'll find out, or we can look back into the weather settings and put heavy precipitation. All right, so with the lighting here, let's just change the lighting some. Let's get some actual snow. Visibility, precipitation, severe. No, airport temperature. There. Done. Apply changes. That should hopefully work. Alright, looks a little grayer, a little more winter time. Let's zoom out. Now in Houston you're not going to get like the snow accumulation like you are. As somewhere like in a northern climate. Why isn't this working? Variation, wind direction, freezing, maybe 15, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Precipitation. Oh, snowy and icy. Snowy and icy max. Done. Let's try that. January 7th. Alright, there we go. See that, guys? We got some snow and ice accumulation. A nice slick surface here. We'd have to be careful, very careful taxiing out. Let's zoom out. We have snow now. We have received dustings of snow, small, very small. It's very, very rare in Houston. But anyways, just to show you guys, what it's like. So, see, no snow. I'm sorry, there's no leaves on the trees. We got snow on the ground. Seasons are modeled, so no need for SAM seasons any longer. Oh, we also have a jetway connector by default, so no need for SAM jetways. And then also, let's free camera here. Also, if you zoom in, the trees. So let's look at the trees real quick. So look, they're more 3D. You don't have those square-looking trees like they did before. They lose their leaves in the wintertime. And actually, let's switch this to fall. Look at those the clouds there looking pretty good. Alright, let's switch to fall and just see what fall looks like. Let's go with October. 7th is good. Let's go to customize weather. Fall, well, down in Houston, it's a little bit warmer. October, yeah, let's put it at 60. Precipitation, light, still got good visibility, let's say. Wind direction, wave height, alright, let's put this at ground level and just increase the speed to like 15 knots, and then hopefully this will show the leaves on the trees. Actually, not only do they change color with the season, so green in the summer and those nice fall colors in the fall. Also, I think it's modeled, not 100% sure, but I think it's modeled where the further north you go. So, for example, in New England, Vermont, Massachusetts, the trees are going to look different. So see, we got a little bit of a gust here. The trees are actually swaying in the wind. Now I don't know for Texas, I guess maybe we gotta go a little bit further. Maybe November. It's still actually pretty warm in October, so. And done. And let's put like 50. And let's try that. See if the leaves are changed for fall. And then this is the last thing for the weather, guys. I just want to try to show you real quick, and then we'll get into the menus and just give a brief overview. Alright, so here it looks like we still got the green trees. Let's go up to let's change location and go to like Boston. Customize. Sure, we'll go there. I mean, just to see the fall, autumn. I actually like autumn is my favorite season. Down in Texas, in Houston, it's hot for so long. It's such a long, hot summer, and it's humid. So I miss being up north. New England. I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so a lot of outdoor activities. Camping and hiking and canoeing and mountain biking and backpacking. I kind of miss the change of the seasons. It just goes from really hot here to cool and wet. Alright, here we go. Let's just go to exterior view, and there, free. We got a free camera now. So see those trees, guys? Again, this is default airport. Zoom into the trees just to show you. And they do use a technique for rendering distance. So that's why you can see how these trees up close have a lot more detail than these trees right here. That I think they've done an amazing job, and you'll notice the frame rates. I have, and we'll get to that to the second. I'm getting 30 frames. That's with drawing aircraft. That's with all the sliders absolute to max, and vegetation scenery to maximum. So as we zoom a little bit closer, you see how the trees change, and you start to actually see the leaves and stuff on them. And they're actually swaying on the wind. That's pretty cool. Alright, back to the aircraft. So let's again just do a pan around here very briefly in Boston. I'm kind of curious if they modeled. I used to live in Boston when I was stationed in the military, and I just want to see if they have the the water treatment plant, which they don't, which is okay. But for default scenery, again, we got the nice runways, we got the nice grass texture. It looks like it was actually like mowed. Love the runways. Looks awesome. And we have those 3D volumetric clouds. Pretty cool, right? So I've heard and I've seen somebody load in Mr. X K-Boss. That's a freeware scenery from XPlane 11, that it does work with XPlane 12. Now the biggest difference is the interaction between the ortho, for example, and the beaches or the coastline. So this is all hit and miss whether orthos work, guys. A lot of people, what they've been doing is they've been creating shortcuts to their existing ortho location in XPlane or wherever they have their orthos stored at, you know, their external drive or whatever. They have shortcuts created like a link, and it links the folder into their XPlane 12 and XP72. His last stream, his most current stream, actually shows that. So that's pretty cool. All right, so you got a gist of the seasons. You saw the trees, you saw the water. I'd imagine there will be an XPlane 12 version of ortho, so the blending between the 3D water and the actual tiles will work better. But it looks like people are seeing good results so far with default ortho. XP72, for example, on his stream, he was flying in Florida, and the ortho is looking pretty good. So now let's go into the menus. So we'll start off with general. Oh, yeah, we'll get to the frames in a second. So similar UI user interface as, you know, that comfortable feeling of what we had before. I mean, does it matter if there's all new bells and whistles in the menus? No, I'd rather have some familiarity with the next version that, you know, I can somehow still find my way around. So you got your language, you got your warnings. If you don't install the whole world, which is 80 gigabytes, I just installed the whole world. If you leave this tick box mark checked, you'll get missing scenery warning, so you might want to untick that box if you just install like the United States, for example, or just Europe. I leave that to default, just like XPlane 11. I like this is default checked. And with the Zibo mod, you have to make sure that this is unchecked. Disable downwind ILSs. You can choose whether to remove flying surfaces when over speed or over G limits. I personally like to use that because it's just more realistic and it forces you to fly the aircraft in a more realistic manner. Alright, sound, pretty basic. Enable sounds. We have all of our sounds here turned all the way up. I don't click any of this stuff. Personally, guys, I hate in-game air traffic control. Not only is it computerized, yeah, sure, it's getting better. If you guys want to look into that and see how that works, you can change male voice or female voice. I don't use this. Guys, just use VATSIM. It's not that hard. They have this event called First Wings where you can log in. I mean, you can log in as an observer or just log in on the ramp in your aircraft, tune to the frequency of tower or ground or clearance delivery. Just sit for 5-10 minutes, whatever you want, to listen in how it works. It's not that hard to do. Don't be scared. The control, you can just put newbie, in your comments, and the controllers are human just like us. They make mistakes too, and for the most part, they're all super friendly and helpful, especially if you have comments. So if you want to be immersive, guys, you really need to use external air traffic control. Use live human voices. It's going to get your ears tuned to hearing real humans talk on frequency versus this computer generated stuff. I personally think this is a waste of time. It is way better than it was from what I've heard from other people, but again, I don't use that stuff. Alright, so now graphics, the meat and potatoes. So this is pretty similar. Texture quality, ambient occlusion, rendering resolution, anti-aliasing, max, anisotropic filtering. Now if you'll notice, there is no HDR tech box anymore because it's by default HDR now. Also with enable Vulkan, XPlane 12 is Vulkan only. So you don't have that choice. It's there. And then similar, just like before, your cloud, shadow, quality, rendering, distance, that's all pretty much the same. I left this default for lateral field of view. You can use to change that, especially if you have a home cockpit. You might need to change that setting just to get that kind of realistic view out the cockpit. And so that's what we got there. Network stuff, same as before. You can get your IP address, data output, show on cockpit frame rate. So with everything cranked up to max, I'm getting 32 frames per second on the ground in the Zibo with rain, which is pretty good. I've noticed a pretty decent FPS improvement over XPlane 11. To give you an idea, I'm running an i7 8700K processor. It has a base clock of 3.7 and can be turboed up to 4.5. Now I use a downloaded software thing that forces it to throttle the whole time because I don't know how much XPlane has improved on using the single core CPU, or if they've spread out the load over several. And actually, let's go into Task Manager and just see. So XPlane's using high power usage, GPU 75%, CPU 17%. So let's look at performance. So see, currently my base speed is 3.7. It's running at 4.3, but I can throttle up as the load demands. It's dynamic. It'll turbo up to 4.5. Let's see. Details. No. Services. No. Processes. Performance. Yeah. So let's open Resource Monitor. Alright, so now we can see our CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 2, the different cores. So at least initially it looks like it's still favoring a single core, which makes the processor really important in XPlane. Now with XPlane 12, they have been able to shift some of the load of your CPU load over to the graphics processor, so it's a lot more balanced. Your joystick, I have the Cytec Flight Pro system with the throttle quadrant. One thing to be aware of, so I have everything mapped over, so my hat switch, so I look at that for views. I have my trim, pitch trim down and pitch trim up, just like in the real aircraft, the trims. Over here, I have the autopilot disconnect button, and then I have the other trim for this button, but I never really use that. I got the rudder pedals set up, and then for the throttles, let me just do a throttle thing here. Alright, what's important about this, guys, I just learned this with Skymatics on his YouTube channel. He's pretty much the Zibo setup god as far as what Zibo tells him as far as what should and shouldn't be done. Now in the past, I moved my hat switches so to be more realistic. So my speed brake lever, I use this, so I pulled off the plastic hat here and put it on this side. So this is my speed brake, and then the middle one is my throttle, and then the right side is my blue hat, and I use this for flaps. So that's what I was doing initially. I still have them set to that, but instead of setting them up here in XPlane 12, you actually want to go inside of the Zibo. And before I do that, also control sensitivity. Skymatics had recommended just like in XPlane 11, there was a stability augmentation. Well, this just has a control response. It no longer has that left side, right side. So he just said it's best for now to move the sliders all the way to the right. Now, you know, a loaded 737-800 isn't going to handle the same as a Cessna 172 with 2 people in it. You're not going to get blown around like a tin can. So to get that more feeling of weight, of heaviness, use those sliders to the right. Now, again, don't use these for... you can for the throttle. I do have that, but he said for the speed brake and the flap lever, don't use that. So I have that set to none. We want to use in the configuration here, customize and configure, in hardware, page 2. Maybe that's not it. General configuration. No. It's got to be on. It's got to be on hardware. Where was it? Hardware configuration. Oh, calibration. Duh. Okay. So initially I think it'll say like none or something on custom flap axis. So what you do, I'm moving my Cytec, the right hand lever that I have set up for my flaps. So I just move that through the full range and then back. Now, so then now it's set, and that's the number. It just automatically populates here. So don't worry what that number is. Now, if this was set to, you know, you had some digital noise like this right here, and I moved my flap lever a little bit, for example, you would want to switch this number, change this number up to get rid of that noise. So for example, you know, setting it to 2, so that would cancel it out. So I'll put that back to 0. Now the same with your speed brake lever. So that'll set up a custom speed brake axis. Now I don't need to set up reverse axis on mine. It's already set up. So now, and I also configured my views just the same in XPlane 11 using control and number key to initially set up a position. So like control 5, I'd set up this view right here. So if I go back to my pilot view and then hit just 5 on the number key to bring it back up, it brings me back. So again, see, I'm moving my physical lever here and flap lever. So again, guys, use the Zibo calibration for those 2 levers and not XPlane. What else? So let's just throw the power on here and the ground power. Oh, it's gonna take a second. With the Zibo, what's working and what's not? Well, you're not gonna get everything exact just coming over from XPlane 11. It's quite a bit different. So Zibo just created, you know, basically what he could for the time that he had to get things going. Now, the tablet works by default. I was able to install just the latest version. It hasn't been specifically upgraded for 12, but AV-Tab's been shown to work. So airport, and of course you have to link it with your Navigraph. So KBoss, for example. So see, it looks just like it was before. So that works. let's connect the GPU. And let's put the ground power on. So what's working, what's not? XPlane 12 does have a default pushback. So if you guys hit Shift G, currently in this early access one, for some reason, whether you push left or right or straight, it's only going to push back straight. So we'll push back straight. Now if we are at a jetway, you could request the jetway. We'll go back to external view just to show you guys. And honestly, since we're not actually at a gate, or if we're at a ramp, I don't know. I don't know if the tug is gonna come up here. Is he driving out? Yeah, maybe we won't get the tug. Let's oh, we'll see. Let's give it a second. See if we see any tugs driving over. It's kind of like out of the way on the side here. Is that tug coming? Alright, maybe not. Anyways, so if you were to push back from the actual gate, the tug has the proper tow bar. So if we were to go to the gate, let's change location. Let's just go to a gate anywhere. Let's go on the edge since it only pushes straight currently. Again, early access, public beta, guys. So, you know, there's going to be glitches. It's easy to forget that Microsoft Flight Simulator was quite an anxiety, stress experience when it first released. Okay, we're in exterior view. Why it didn't show up? Let's try the tug again from here. Push straight, and we'll see if he activates. Or do we have to actually have power on in the aircraft? I don't know if that matters. We'll get the APU fired up real quick. It looks like he's moving over. So instead of the tug like getting up under your wheels and jacking your whole nose gear upward, watch, you'll see the tow bar connection. There you go. We got the tow bar connected. Now we're gonna have to release our parking brake. And depending on how you have this set in your Zibo settings, I have mine set to realistic. So when you set the parking brake, you have to touch both of your push both of your toe brakes in order to set the parking brake. I know everything is off, guys. I'm just trying to show you here. Oh, and maybe ground surfaces. Maybe you have to remove the chocks here because it's in the Zibo Mod. If you're just using it within XPlane and you're flying a default aircraft, it would remove the chocks for you. So see, it's pushing back, and this is cool. The ground vehicles actually stop instead of like plowing right through you. So that's neat. And now that we have the APU fired up, let's put it on the bus real quick. Don't worry about my procedure. We're not going to take off. I'm just showing you. Alright, so he pushes you back a little bit, right? So it's not, if it's not far enough, you could have him, you could push back more. Or what I do is, I would just throttle up and use my left or right toe brake. So I'd use my right toe brake and just throttle up pretty fair amount once they start rolling, and then just push off to the right, get on the taxiway. That reminds me, so VATSIM, I tried installing whatever the most recent XPilot is. It doesn't work with XPlane 12, so I removed it. Apparently they're working on an XPlane 12 compatible, so for now guys it's just offline flying. Let's see, so better pushback does not work in XPlane 12 currently. That's unfortunate, especially because the default XPlane 12 isn't working great. You only get straight. So Navigraph works, AvaTab works, and you know, I love having my airport charts to use. I don't know, you know, I can't wait until PMDG gets their electronic flight bag, whatever you guys want to call it, to fly that. But it's so convenient. I love it. Yeah, other than that, guys, so that's basically XPlane 12. Some people say that, you know, they probably, you know, Laminar should have just called it an update and pay like $10 or like $20 for an update. Or some people say, oh, it's like an XPlane 11.6. Well, we've had update 0.1, 0.2, all the way up to 0.55, and Austin actually has a video saying, you know, he wanted to just do another update, and one of his developers was like, you know, we have to stop the updates at some point and start working on the next release, because as much as we'd like to, guys, we can't get everything for free, you know. Common question: if I have XPlane 11, do I get XPlane 12 for free? No, it's a new standalone version. Just like any other game out there that comes up with a full new release, you have to pay again. However, during this early access release, which my guesstimate is October for a final. Don't quote me on that, but that's my little crystal ball guess. So you'll have, you know, when the final release comes out, you're obviously entitled to the full release and any future XPlane 12.1, 12.2, etc. You're entitled to that. And also during this early access public beta means testing phase, there's going to be issues. You also get a license to XPlane 11, so you guys can download XPlane 11 now if you want. Install all the stuff that works, all the tons of freeware if you want, you know, scenery and XPlane 11 stuff now. What's remaining is going to be heavily discounted, I'd imagine, especially, you know, if not now, by Christmas, because everybody's starting the change to move to XPlane 12. Now, stock XPlane 11 versus XPlane 12, do I notice a difference? Yeah, certainly. The seasons, the weather, the 3D volumetric clouds, yes, definitely better than stock XPlane 11. Again, should this be counted as an update? Well, some could argue, you know, it could be considered, or should it have been just an update? But you know, in the real world, guys, people are in business to make money, just like Microsoft, and they're billions and billions of dollars. Laminar needs to make some money too to stay in business. We've already been through update 0.1 through 0.5 and then 0.55. So from what, 2017 to, you know, just recently, last week, we've been just doing updates. So, you know, it's time for them to start bringing a little bit more money. They've been working on XPlane 12. Think of the thousands of hours of development. Would you guys work for free? I know, you know, I wouldn't. For me to roll out of bed, you know, I need to be making at least $15 an hour to make it worth, you know, my time. I'm not going to work for free. I don't think you guys would work for free. You know, would you come over to my house and cook me dinner and walk my dog for free? Probably not. So, you know, let's be realistic, guys. We had to pay for XPlane 11. We had to pay for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I bought the deluxe version, so that was $119. So for me, comparing the deluxe to this is a lot cheaper. I know, granted, you could just buy the base version. I don't remember what the cost was that was for a Microsoft Flight Simulator, but they're both. So we now have two great simulators. Let's fly them both, use them both. Let's upgrade them both. Let's keep continuing on with the development, the upgrades, and you know, competition is good, guys. That, you know, makes prices go down, just like flying in the real world. The more airlines you have, the better prices are. So more competition helps keep prices down. Now, if you got a monopoly on something, you can charge whatever you want. You know, so that's about it. So I love the Boston, Scott. There's so much to do. Boston is such a fun city to visit. The walk around. There's a lot of public transit, and then it's called the T. It's like above ground, below ground trolley system. It's great, but I love the scenery. So yes, Mr. X KBoss scenery for XPlane 11 does work for XPlane 12. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and let me know what you guys think about XPlane 12 early access public beta release. All right. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We're going to do a short flight from Houston to New Orleans. All right. Have a good day.